India has increasingly seen its stature grow on the world stage. Led by populist Hindu Prime Minister Narendra Modi, the world's biggest democracy has grown its economy and its geopolitical influence. But an investigation by the Washington Post adds new evidence to allegations that India is also trying to murder some of its critics, even on American soil. William Brangham has more.
According to the Post, on the eve of Modi's first state visit to America, members of his government spy agency were plotting to kill an American citizen in New York. Sikh separatist leader Gurpatwan Singh Panun has been highly critical of Modi's government. And while the plot against him was foiled by U.S. law enforcement, it's opened a window into just how audacious the Indian government is becoming. Pulitzer Prize-winning reporter Greg Miller helped break this story, and he joins us now from London. Greg, thank you so much for being here. Could you just tell us a little bit more about this plot? Who were the plotters, and tell us a little bit more about who they were targeting?
So the plotters are operatives within the Indian Intelligence Service, its spy agency, which is known as the Research and Analysis Wing. Now, of course, the spy agency is very closely controlled by Modi and his inner circle and national security advisors. So the targets are part of a broader community, religious community of Sikhs who are regarded by the Modi government as a threat, as disloyal, as enemies of the sort of Hindu nationalist state that Modi is focused on building. So the two targets that we spent our story focused on were kind of leaders of an effort to revive a largely dormant campaign to create a separate state, a separate place for Sikhs in northern India. This was something that sort of traces back to the 1980s, when there was a lot of, many thousands of people were killed, but sort of went quiet for many decades since then, but has flared back up since Modi came to power.
So friends, आपने देखा कि अमेरिकन मीडिया किस तरीके से भारत सरकार के ऊपर आरोप लगा रही है कि भारत सरकार अमेरिकन धरती पर वहाँ के सिटीजन्स को मारना चाहती है जो कि मतलब खालिस्तानी समर्थक हैं। दोस्तों, क्या ऐसा हो सकता है? क्योंकि अमेरिका एक मतलब सेपरेट देश है और भारत सरकार बिल्कुल ऐसा कदम मतलब नहीं उठाएगी मतलब जिससे भारत और अमेरिका की जो दोस्ती है वो पिछले कुछ समय से बढ़ रही है, उसमें कोई खलल आए। दोस्तों, भारत सरकार हमेशा मतलब शांति के अंदर मतलब चलती है और वो मतलब तरक्की की ओर सोचती है। वो भारत सरकार सारे मतलब समाज को, सारी धरती को और सारे मतलब वर्ल्ड को एक समझती है और दूसरे कुटुंबकम के मतलब माध्यम से मतलब सबका साथ देती है।
The idea of a foreign government attempting to kill a U.S. citizen on U.S. soil, I mean, I used the word audacity. Does that seem like the right word to you? How did they feel that they could and should pull off such a thing?
Audacity is probably an understatement here. It's remarkably brazen for the Indian government to one sort of set a plot like this in motion anywhere, let alone one that was supposed to unfold in the United States, which has some of the largest and most effective security and surveillance agencies in the world. Part of it is India seeing itself as a rising power in a new era of global competition, entitled to carry out operations it sees other governments as having been doing for many, many years. But at the same time, in this case, the attempt included lots of really hard to understand mistakes, tradecraft blunders that contributed to the failure, thankfully, of this operation.
Your report details how one official close to Modi likely knew of and or sanctioned this operation. What does your reporting tell about how high this goes?
Yeah, I think that this is a really important question. And I don't think that there were terribly clear answers. We spent a lot of time interviewing US officials, Indian sources, other officials in Western governments. And so I think that there is, as we say in the story, US spy agencies have assessed that Modi's national security advisor was probably aware of these operations, if he hadn't sanctioned them. The agencies are much more confident that the head of India's spy service, somebody named Samant Goel, had actually authorized these operations. So if that's accurate, these go very close to the inner core of Modi's inner circle.
How has the U.S. responded to this? I mean, your report lays out the tension that the Biden administration has of wanting to cultivate India as a growing power, as a negotiating partner, but also seemingly quite alarmed at this brazen attempt at an assassination on U.S. soil.
This was a nightmare situation for the Biden administration because on the one hand, you have a very grave violation of American sovereignty. You have a foreign government plotting to kill a Sikh activist, but somebody who is a U.S. citizen on U.S. soil. And at the same time, this plot is traceable.
सो फ्रेंड्स, आपने देखा कि कैसे वेस्टर्न मीडिया भारत के ऊपर आरोप लगा रही है कि भारत अमेरिकन धरती पर उनके सिटीजन को मारना चाहते हैं जो कि मतलब खालिस्तानी सपोर्टर हैं। दोस्तों, इससे पहले कनाडा ने भी भारत के ऊपर आरोप लगाए थे और इन जो भी आरोप मतलब लगाए जा रहे हैं इसमें कोई मतलब फैक्ट्स हैं नहीं, ये सिर्फ हवाई बातें हैं। क्योंकि अगर कोई फैक्ट्स होते तो फिर वो मतलब आते मतलब दुनिया के सामने आते और दोनों कनाडा और अमेरिका भारत के साथ उन फैक्ट्स को मतलब शेयर करते और इससे ये मतलब कंक्लूजन होता। दोस्तों, खालिस्तान जो मतलब सपोर्टर हैं वो बहुत सालों से इसकी वजह पड़े हैं कि भारत में हम मतलब खालिस्तान बना देंगे, पर ऐसा हो नहीं सकता क्योंकि भारत एक अखंड देश है और कभी भारत सरकार इसे होने नहीं देगी।